Hello, YouTube land. Good evening, everyone.
Hello, man. How's it going? You good?
Hello, Age. Good evening, man.
Good evening, everybody.
How's your week been?
My week's been all right. Not too bad.
Oh, I wanted to ask you a question. Last week, the week before, both of us had our wisdom tooth taken out.
Yeah.
My hole hasn't closed up yet. Has yours?
Yeah.
Oh, it has. Mine's still there.
You get a cavity there or whatever it is.
A what?
Like an empty hole. But yeah.
Oh no, really? There's gonna be a hole there, so there's gonna be food going down it, and I'm gonna have to pick it all the time with a toothpick and make my mouth bleed every time. And then I might catch an infection. I need to go and sort that out.
You'll be all good.
No, for real, there's gonna be a permanent hole there.
Yeah. So yeah, the flat earth.
Oh. Hello to everybody in the chat. Thanks for joining. How is everyone this evening? I'll do the register soon. Yeah, there's a rule on this channel. I usually do it at the protests, but I'll do it in the live streams as well now. We do the register, and that is everyone put one in the chat if you've bashed the like button, and I'll give you a shout. Let's see who's here. So yeah, flat Earth. The round side versus the flat side.
And you got the oblate spheroid as well.
Let's bring up the chart.
Or the lemon. Don't get lemon.
The lemon?
I said don't get lemon. Don't know where to start with this. You could start with anywhere, I suppose.
Let's go through the bullet points, the 5 usual bullet points that we got. I can't really see it. I don't have my my other phone today. Next week I'll be on the laptop, so then I'll be able to share videos and all of that stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose the belief of the flat earth has been around since the Greeks, Egyptians, Chinese, as well as like the round earth theory. A lot of like Muslim scholars, Egyptians as well. They were all, I suppose they had a lot of time on their hands without technology, so they could sit and watch seasons and the stars over long periods, over generations as well, like passed on information over generations.
That is a good question. What difference does it make to everyday life, whether it was round or flat?
I don't think it makes any difference.
Well, I think it will make a difference because the first question is, why did they say it was round?
It has no, like, I don't think it would change anything really, whether it's flat or round. we're
I
still
don't know.
tied to the earth.
You know, I think it'll piss me off that they lied to us that the world was round, but it's not. It's actually flat.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll definitely go on my megaphone. That's sitting there dusting up, you know. It's really hard going on the megaphone. Yeah, it's all dust now. But if that was the case and they lied to us about the earth being round, that it was flat, I will take that megaphone and I'll stand outside Downing Street every day. Why, I will say.
I mean, let's just say like you won like 100 million on the lottery. Would you like, and then you went and said to say with someone like Florida or Kazakhstan, can I borrow a rocket, a space rocket? I'll give you the money, blah, blah, blah. I want to go up to space. Do you think, they would allow people to do that? I think they would. Space tourism's becoming a thing. Like, it's
Yeah,
just whether you got the money.
SpaceX
Again, it's going to be for the rich only.
SpaceX have sent already some people up, and they got one in space right now that went recently to the
Wasn't
space
there
station.
wasn't there a rocket, a 3D printed rocket that went up to space yesterday? The first ever 3D printed rocket.
Was that the Japanese ones?
I
But
don't know, but it flew from Florida. I know that.
oh no, the
I mean,
Japanese
I
were
reckon.
flew one the other day as well, but they had to self-destruct it because one of the rockets didn't release.
Yeah. I
So
mean, there's
instead of
reason.
going off course, they blew it up.
Oh, that's weird. I could see a reason why they'd lie about going to the moon or going to Mars or other planets, because there's resources there and there's things that have value to us. But I don't see what difference it would make if it was round or flat.
Oh no, going back to the £1 million thing,
Yeah.
the
Or
100 million
more.
pound thing. If I had the chance, yes. Before I, you've made me change my thought there. If when it comes to the lottery, if I ever played the lottery, I was thinking the other day, let me start playing the lottery. Because I don't play the lottery, and you've changed my thing now. So instead of buying a block of flats and living off the rent, I'm now going to say I want to book a space ticket to space to see for myself if the world is round. So that's 40 million quid just for a ticket to space.
Yeah.
See if the world is still blue, and soon they say it's going to be brown, the atmosphere, looking from above uh, at the rate that we're going with the carbon emissions.
Yeah. That's another subject as well.
Yeah, the carbon emissions, they leave stains in the atmosphere, and over time it's just going to build up and it's going to stain one of the layers of the atmosphere and it's going to look brown.
So I got some a few questions to ask, and I suppose it's without relying on the official narrative, basically by
Yeah.
observation. I'll put a video
Okay.
up if you want to have a look.
Oh yeah.
and anyone could like record these, I suppose. But in the northern hemisphere, it goes anti-clockwise. In the southern hemisphere, it goes clockwise, and in the equator, it goes across the sky. As well as Polaris, you can only see Polaris in the north. You can only see Alpha Centauri in the south. And these can be done with if you speed up what they called like long. If you set like a camera to long exposure, sort of over a night, you can get these images. So anyone could do that. That's not like relying on NASA science or something like that. So I'd say that's the first question.
So there's been observations from the ground, and we see straight away you can't dispute this research now. The evidence, the proof is right there that it's a globe. You know, it's round. Alpha Centauri. That's a good system. There could be some life over there.
I've only been to the southern hemisphere once, so and yeah, I couldn't say. I can't remember if I looked up and noticed the sky moving across the other way, but I'll put another one up then. I've got another one.
I'm gonna stick the link out.
Yeah.
If anyone wants to join.
Here's another video. It's more like observational skills. Hello, are you there? Hello, Local. Hey, he's there. Here's another
Are you
one.
a moderator?
Me?
Age, are you a mod?
Yeah. Hello? Can you hear me? I reckon everyone can hear us both, but...
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
That's it.
Can you post the link in the chat, please?
Yeah, I will do, man. Yeah. So there you go. Here's a second example. Is turbines 29 miles from Felixstowe Beach. I mean, if the Earth was flat, and why don't we see all of the wind turbines? How is that under the sea or behind the horizon?
Hello?
Hello.
I'm having connection problems.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Bendy water.
Yeah, if you can pop the link in the chat. I'm only using my phone right now to do the show today. Usually I've got another device, but I don't have it with me today.
Yeah. All right. Well, put the picture up. Share the picture in it of the main picture before we let anyone else on. But yeah,
Yeah.
here's the link. Link's going in the chat. We're just having a little waffle about the flat Earth tonight, I suppose.
Yeah, let's talk some conspiracies. Try and change my mind. Um, if it's flat, uh, haven't actually seen. I've seen a picture, and that picture's been duplicated over and over and over again. And the flat earthers would say, it's always the same picture. It's always the same picture. There's something going on. Um, well, there's only one picture because how many more pictures do you need of the same planet? You know.
Oh, there's loads more pictures now. There was a point up until, I think it was like 2003, where all of the images of Earth, in fact, almost all the images of Earth were fake or they were CGI. But since then, no,
Not exactly. There's a one famous. Hi, by the way.
hello.
There's a
Hello, Joe.
famous clip of a guy saying, it's CGI because it has to be. That's because they used satellites taking partial images and pieced it, together on that particular photo. But there's lots of other photos where they are no CGI, they're actual photos. There's one of the first ones, which is called Blue Marble from 1970,
9? Oh, yeah.
79, I think, yeah.
Yeah, I know the one.
And there is the negative, it's on a slide because the type of camera they used, but it's actually in a museum in Houston, Texas, and people can go and see it. And what?
Yeah, no, like
Always
people have said, like, why don't space rockets take photos when they're going up to space and stuff? It's not like
they do.
they do, but it's not as simple as just taking a photo. Because if you took a photo of Earth, it would just be a massive blur. Like you wouldn't. You need like certain. You need cameras with certain like exposure lengths, and it's not just like going up to space, putting a camera in a concealed box that can take a photo of the Earth. It's
Yeah, and well, when they're spending, millions and millions to do a certain job, they're not really worried about proving the shape of the Earth to the few
yeah, I
people
know.
that think
No,
it's flat. It's one of the last things on their mind.
no, definitely. That's another thing. It's definitely, yeah.
Can I take a minute because this is not be better if there was actually some people who think it's flat to come up and talk about it. Because we have was it exactly that in the chat who seems to be on the flat Earth side. Do you want to come up and chat?
I mean, a good point I've always learned is absence of evidence is not evidence of absence. Do you understand what that means? It's like if we can't see it, it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. If you know what I mean.
It's the saying's kind of like that. Yeah.
Like for instance, like CGI image of the Earth, it doesn't prove that the Earth's spherical, and it doesn't prove that the Earth's flat. It's just someone's interpretation of what they think the Earth looks like.
Yeah, the oblate spheroid shape is mainly due to gravity. Any sufficient mass will basically become a sphere if given enough time.
I mean, in the observable universe, everything is round or rounded off. So why would Earth be flat? I never got that. Do you think it maybe spawned from like religion or something?
Well, there's definitely a few one type of people who believe the Earth is flat that are religious. Even though the parts of the Bible say the Earth is flat, don't actually say that. They say like it's just a sort of how it's translated. And in another sort of one, it says it's on the, ball or the round of the Earth or something. I can't remember the quotes, but there are some people who say, "Oh, this bit in the Bible says it's flat." When you actually look into it and translate it properly, it doesn't say anything to do with flat. I do. One of my sort of guilty pleasures is watching flat Earth debates on YouTube.
Yeah.
Who do you watch?
I haven't for 3 or 4 years now. I haven't watched any flat Earth stuff.
Oh, you're missing out. Some of it is just so funny.
I've been on a few myself, and I've been on like pro flat Earth sites, and you don't get a word in edgeways, and yeah, I found it a bit pointless me being there really because everything I said, it was, oh no, that's NASA lies, or that's science lies, or
I went on one actually myself. I've only ever really been on one. It was funny because I started to piss them off because you know how they just kind of, if it's their show, they'll mute you, talk for about 10 minutes, and then sort of ask you to respond, and you sort of get about halfway through a sentence before they mute you again. I said to him, I'm not going to speak until you say the words like "Go ahead, Joe." And I started to piss him off because I would. He'd sort of like go on for 10 minutes, and then I'll try and ask me a question. And I'd sat there in silence, and he's like, "So what do you call it?" Oh, you haven't said "Go ahead, Joe," just to prove a point that they keep using you, don't let you get anything out, and say they keep interrupting you.
It's good to have a fair debate. It's hard to find fair debates nowadays, like between two parties, I suppose.
And on the queue, if you're there, he said he will jump on. He's got something to say about flat Earth.
Who was this?
Anonocue on YouTube.
Anonocue.
Anonocue. Yeah. Anonocue.
Matty England says flat Earth is a psyop to discredit conspiracy theorists. Yeah, it probably is. Because I think
not really. There are people that do believe the Earth is flat.
No, but I think it's been pushed into like the popular culture by, I don't know, the US and the KGB, and because they're not talking about their governments and corruption, then they're just talking about the flat Earth all the time and arguing over it when it's not going to change the world, really, is it?
I don't know. To believe the Earth is flat, you have to believe in pretty much, the one world government conspiracy and a whole load of other conspiracies as well. Because to cover, there's got to be a universal agreement to cover it up.
Yeah.
Because no government on Earth is, saying the Earth is flat.
Even North Korea, who like they hate the West, they try not to follow anything that the West says, but they still like teach the round Earth to their school kids.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It would have to, there has to be a sort of like universal government, to all agree to have that same, lie or cover up or whatever. So
And how are they going to keep it from the people when space tourism becomes a thing in the next 10 years or so? And it'll get cheaper and cheaper until maybe not in our lifetime, but
well, I mean,
normal people will be able to go to space.
They already have. There's been a few flights, of the private ones.
Yeah.
But like something that we could afford, say. I mean, I doubt we're millionaires. I'm not.
I'm pretty sure there was a competition to like win a seat on one of those.
By Jeff Bezos.
Yeah, there was a Virgin flight one. There was a few. Yeah.
Yeah. And the more it happens, the cheaper it would be. And they're also going back to the moon.
Yeah, the Chinese will be there in 5 years, I think. The moon. Elon Musk will be on the Mars by 2030, possibly.
I think that's the main reason they're going back to the moon, is to have it as a staging area to go off further to places like Mars.
Yeah.
So there's someone in the chat called Exactly That. They seem to be a globe denier. So I'm wondering if they want to come up and have a chat.
He says, have you seen the comedy? NASA's ISIS in space. Floating hair sprayed in space. Glitching astronauts.
I think they mean ISS, not ISIS.
The International Space Station.
Yeah. I think that might have been a typo. I don't know for sure. They might mean ISIS.
What, is there a longer name to that, or is it that?
No, it's just the International Space Station. But I think, it's a typo putting IS when they meant ISS. But I don't know. Come up and explain.
Yeah, Age or a mod in the chat if you can help spread the link in the chat once every 15 minutes.
Local, are you able to pin it?
I can't because I just got one device right now. I'm on my phone.
Oh, okay. So yeah, there's a couple of people I watch who debate flat earthers. One is MC Toon. Don't know if you've heard of him. Does it on Tuesdays. No. And the other one is FTFE, or Flight the Flat Earth.
Well, we do weekly topics, Joel.
Yeah.
What was we doing last week? We was doing pyramids last week, I think. No, we was doing meat eating versus veganism last week. And then the week before that was doing the pyramids. What number is this? Number 12.
13.
13.
Yeah. Unlucky 13.
Oh, Joe back. Joe. next
Yep.
week we're talking about changing my mind on the 15-minute cities.
Okay.
Yeah. So that'll be interesting as well.
Well, what is your position so that we know what to change your mind about?
Well, that's for next week's debate.
Well, no, we're not going to debate it now. Just what is your position so that if we're trying to change your mind, we know what to try and change it to. Because
if it's the way that I'm saying it's going to be in the 15-minute cities, then yes, we should do it.
okay, so you're kind of for them and think they're a good idea.
Yeah.
Okay.
If certain things were closer, so in the 15-minute range.
Well, without
Some
going
sort of
too much into it, because
servitudes.
it's next week, I think that was the original person or people that came up with the idea of the 15 or 20-minute cities was that everything was within that 15 to 20 minutes of you.
Yeah.
That was the original idea of it. Whether that's what it is now or not is a discussion for next week.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm hoping someone who believes the Earth is flat will come up and have a chat.
Yeah, try and convince me.
Stick this photo up quick, local. See
Yeah,
what you
man.
think.
Try and convince me. At least 4 people will get me to change my mind. Prove that a baseball is flat.
Proof that a basketball is flat.
Oh, basketball, sorry.
Yeah, look at the horizon, it's flat.
Yeah, actually, I mentioned 2 people, one of them being MC2. He did the same thing with a globe. Took a, got, the desktop globes.
Yeah.
Doing pretty much the exact same thing. It did it on video mode. So it starts off and it's like pretty much a flat line, and then you sort of zoom out, and eventually when you zoom out enough, you can see it forms into the desktop globe.
And someone said to me a few years ago, like, why don't you try spinning water on a globe? And well, because that the globe is stuck in the vector of the gravity, which is of the Earth. It's if we went out into space and put water on, spun it, you might be able to get it to stay on, but not on the Earth because you're subject to the gravity within the Earth.
You're slightly close.
So it'll always go to the floor.
Something of a much greater mass.
These comments make me laugh. Oh dear, Red Leader says local is a shill for the NWO.
Oh,
New World Order.
No, the 15-minute series will be interesting talk. Because next Thursday we'll do the talk on 15-minute cities, and then on the Saturday I'll be at a protest against the 15-minute city the extra low admission zones.
And all these slogans are just being repeated by the top grifters like David Icke and all that. Like Build Back Better and the Great Reset and 15-minute cities, and no doubt local councils and government are planning like 15-minute cities, but it doesn't mean that you won't be able to leave that 15-minute area. But that's for next week anyway. We should get into it next week.
Yeah.
But the title is going to be age. The title is going to be "Change My Mind" on the 15-minute city thing.
Yeah.
So if it sounds as bad as it is, then obviously I change my mind.
Yeah.
And if not, if I still think my idea is better than theirs, then I'll still go with my idea. Like I don't want to get into it too much. But along the line, but what I said was, you agreed, Joe. If that was the basic idea, 15-20 minute cities. If things were closer to her, then yes, you can call it a 15-minute city. You know, uh, like
Um,
one example, a hospital. If a hospital was closer to you, what else do you need? Bit of entertainment that would be close to you.
well,
Uh,
yeah, it's sort of like everything that you can think of should be. This was the original idea. So back when it was first, I think it was probably German, but I could be making that up. The original people that came up with the concept, like literally everything you can think of, there's that you'd need would be within like 20 minutes drive of you. So hospitals, schools, shops, cinema, um,
yeah, exactly. Cinema, shopping
yeah,
centers.
entertainment, shopping centers,
Um,
yeah. So no matter where, in that sort of 15-20 minute drive from you was, you would have everything. So you'd need a lot more, hospitals around so that it would be less than 20 minutes away from you.
yeah, I was saying the other day, um, if you go 30 miles an hour, um, for 15 minutes, how far would you get? And it come to about 12 miles, 11 point something miles. So just say 12 miles. Um, everything that you need right now is within the 12 miles. How far is your local hospital,
Like,
Joe?
check out this picture here that I've just put up. Everything within 15 minutes. Apparently, they say that no one's allowed to go to Antarctica, but there you go. There's a city for you.
There's a what is that? Alternate world. With a question about Newtonian gravity or Einstein's gravity. Well, they're basically the same thing in essence. So I don't know why you put an or.
You can go to Antarctica for, I don't know, the cheapest it'd be about $5,000 because you'd have to get a plane to Argentina or South Africa, and then get like a 3 or 4 day boat or ship to Antarctica from there.
Yeah, I
Hold
mean,
on.
what?
Oh, I was gonna say, if this is about 15, what is this? 15-minute cities?
No, this is about flat Earth.
Oh, right, yeah.
But that's a 15-minute city. That's got everything it needs. I
That
don't
is
think they're
true.
allowed cars. I don't think you're allowed cars on Antarctica.
What about heat? Is it 15 minutes away from heat? Looks pretty cold.
It's freezing.
Exactly.
I heard there's like a few thousand, like 4,000 people living there or something like
Yeah, all year round. Yeah.
Yeah, people say that, well, people that believe the Earth is flat think that you can't go to Antarctica. Whereas you can. I mean, you can go, even if you're not going on an organized, tour, you'll probably die because of the harshness and the severe cold. So if you're not in a proper organized tour and you wander off, you will probably die, but you can do that.
I'll show you a picture quick, another picture.
No, it wasn't superseded by Einstein's gravity. It was built on. Newtonian is is more the what happens, and Einstein goes on to explain why that happens.
And that's a picture of my uncle at the top of Mount Vincent in Antarctica. He's done it twice, so yeah, there's so many people that go to Antarctica every year. Here's another question I got for your local.
A question about flat Earth, yeah?
Yeah. It's a video. Put this video up.
Oh, it's a video. Here we go.
Right. From Australia to Argentina, it's 8 hours. No, it's about 8 or 9 hours. And from the UK to the Caribbean, it's about the same. So like how on a flat Earth would it work?
Magic portal.
If they're the same amount of time, and you can look at any like flight path and how long, and they're around about the same.
One of my points, if you keep that map up, flat earthers believe, well, quite a lot of them believe that the sun does a sort of circle around the sort of equator to get day and night. As we know, basically the Earth is 50% in sunlight, 50% nighttime, all of the time. Yeah, it's basically so close to 50%. But when you ask about the seasons, they say the Earth will sort of do a circle going closer to the what are they called? There's
Equinox.
Something of Capricorn and
the
Tropic of
Capricorn,
the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn. So it will do a kind of spiral, sort of out towards Capricorn, in towards Cancer, and then out again. If that's the case, then how is it still 50% daylight, 50% nighttime? If you look at it sort of that, it just doesn't work out. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not explaining it brilliantly, but I haven't got the sort of graphics to. I could probably find it.
Yeah, man. We need some flat earthers here. Otherwise, it looks like the circle earthers are gonna win me over.
The circle earthers. I reckon, like Sab the Seeker just put there, where does hollow Earth theory fit into flat Earth? I reckon there's more like chance of there being a hollow Earth because there's cavities from like oil, making oil and shit like that. So there'd be loads of like caves and tunnels and volcano like tunnels like go deep into the underground for sure.
Yeah, it's not round, circular. It's a peach, like a pear. There's a part of the planet that sticks out.
It's more in the northern hemisphere, isn't it? I think. Is it more in the north or is it more in the southern? It's got like a bulky ass. I can't remember.
It's more slightly wider at the equator than it would be from like pole to pole line, but it's only a few, kilometers, like 24 kilometers or something like that difference.
I think is that why it's so cold at the top, where Canada and Russia is, Alaska and all those.
If the Earth is flat, how thick bottom to top is it? What's underneath? Yeah, there's nothing. You're not going to get an answer to those questions, Sab, the Seeker, because flat earthers try their best not to actually make claims because they can easily be debunked.
If it was flat, I don't think it would be able to withstand the resistance of going through space, because we can prove that we go through space like just by observation or not, we know that we're moving through space. And if it was a flat disk, like the resistance would burn the earth, I suppose.
So there's a thing
Either the bottom or the top.
Cappy has put in about gravity is a theory. Does Cappy know what is meant scientifically by the term theory?
Oh, I've heard this.
Just a yes or no.
I've heard this. Space is not real.
Yeah.
Space.
So Cappy, do you know what is meant by the scientific term theory?
It's because of the space, the darkness of space, that we can see the stars, the light of the stars.
It's very quiet from the there seems to be like 2 or 3 flat earthers in the chat, but no one wants to come up and chat.
Yeah, it's civil, guys. No shouting and screaming. Any side, the for or against, will get timed out or put to the back. You're shouting and screaming, so don't worry. It's all fair. Have your say. Try and change my mind. A few people, I told you 4 people think that Earth is flat might get me to change my mind.
I mean, was it Einstein that said that gravity is a fundamental force? I think that's where the problem.
No, not really. He said it's not a force. There is a. It can be measured as a force, but it's not itself a force. It's the warping of space-time.
Yeah.
But
Or
you
some
can.
call it loop quantum gravity, don't they? Where it's like space and time are discrete, and rather than like continuous and smooth, that you know.
It's kind of a well above me, but yeah, warping of space-time, which imparts a force. So gravity itself is not a force.
So it's like an illusion.
No, it has an effect on things.
Some say gravity is emergent, and it comes from like what would you call it? The interactions between like elements. So it's coming out of the space and time, sort of emergently. But I suppose that doesn't really help us with the flat Earth debate in a way, because that's just theoretical physics. The best way, I think, is through observation and what you can actually see with your eyes.
Crazy Lady Jane, basically, there's kind of it stays in a path at a certain distance away from the Earth, so it wouldn't design, it wouldn't fly off into space, and it wouldn't stop descending because it's constantly
Adjusting their flight path, yeah.
well, yeah, minor adjustments, but also even if it wasn't really, it's thrust. It's the thrust pushing it off, gravity putting it down, and loads of other forces. So it's constantly, having force things act on it, which keeps it where it is above, that certain number of miles or feet above the Earth.
I put local share this picture. It's probably the best image I've got of the moon that I took. I could probably go in a little bit further, but yeah, that's just the moon. And then some people will say, oh, but they've put something in the cameras that makes it look like an illusion, or the moon is an illusion. Or so I think someone just put in there, it's plasma.
Plasma, yeah. Plasma does not look like that.
How do we know that's not a picture from Google? That's what they're gonna say. We need proof that it come from you, Age.
I might have some more. I've even got some of Mars and Saturn as well, but they're really like not that great. I can't remember where I put them. Let's have a look.
What's this cap he's put? The sun holds all the planets using gravity, but ignores the moon. How does it ignore the moon? Does the moon just float off? No, it doesn't. How does it ignore the moon? You're just being silly now.
Yes, and they'll walk again. And I'm hoping in my lifetime I can either go to planet Moon or planet Mars.
Where did I put them?
If I'm alive in 50 years' time, so when I'm 83, well, I'm 82 right now, so 82. If there's tickets for the price of going like down the road, then yeah, I wouldn't mind jumping on one and going to the moon or Mars.
What's this? Milawana. The moon is a reflection of the greater Earth, and we are just a small crater in that reflection. What does that even mean?
But then you have what they call it, eclipses of the moon, like 4 times a year. So that disproves that theory, like, straight away.
What theory?
That the moon is a reflection of the greater Earth.
Have you read the rest of it?
We see the Earth, the Earth's shadow on the moon.
No, have you read the rest of that sentence? It doesn't make any sense. It's just word salad. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. So the moon is a reflection, and we're in a reflection of a reflection. It makes no sense whatsoever.
The reflection keeps happening. That's it.
There's a reflection of a reflection in a reflection of a reflection by a reflection. What are you saying? That's just nonsense.
The reflection is always going to be there until you stop looking at it. That's it.
Hello, recording reality.
It's not a reflection anymore once you're not looking at it. Once you stop looking at it, that's it.
Yeah, but just reading that sentence, it makes no sense. I don't know why it annoys me so much, but it makes no sense whatsoever.
Can a moderator or Age stick the link in the chat?
Yeah, I'll do it.
If anyone wants to join the stream panel, we're talking about flat Earth. Maybe you can change my mind, and maybe I can become a flat earther.
Matty England, there is recent pictures from I think it's a Chinese satellite that went quite close to the moon, and it showed the landing site. So how is there the landing site on the moon seen from a Chinese satellite if they didn't go there? Do you think that the Chinese government and the American government are working together? Because they don't really like each other that much.
I think even the Russians and the Japanese have like third-party evidence of them going to the moon.
Yeah, I'm just talking recently, within the past couple of years. I think it was either last year or the year before that they had, satellite images of the moon.
We're brainwashed. We need to look into this more. I mean, I've got like an 80 page book that I wrote.
Yeah.
Going through just about every little last thing that you could think about and more. Some of the stuff I don't even understand because it's that like deep. And there's one thing I've found about the flat Earth is that there isn't like one bit of evidence like that even shows us it's a flat Earth.
Yeah, there was, recording reality's right. There was a massive race between the Americans and Russians to get to the moon first. And if it wasn't possible to go there, the Russians would have said, "No, you didn't. You're lying. You're lying to your people."
Yeah, the conspiracy is that the 21st century has been rewritten. Like the past has been rewritten, history has been rewritten by the few families that are left running the world. Wasn't it one of the Rockefeller great uncles or great grandfathers that changed all the medical books from I can't say it on YouTube. I'll get striked for this now. I got striked for it before. But you know what? Yeah. I can't say it. But you know what I'm saying, guys. Yeah. And so history was rewritten by these guys, the Rockefellers, and this is the life that we're living now. Regards to like all the medical stuff. This is why in the last 100 years we've had 2 world wars. How many other countless wars have we had? In history of life, this is the most wars we've had ever in the last 100 years. Oh yes, they want to take our humanity. This is theories, guys, that I'm saying. It might be all BS. Don't listen to anything I say or the panelists. Let's keep YouTube happy. Oh, we've got a guest at the back. Yeah, let's let you on.
Hello.
Hello, good evening, sir.
How's it going? I wanted to call you out, Local.
Hello.
Oh no, you're calling me out.
Yeah, you said that a comment about war. There's been more war in the last century than at any other time in human history.
Yeah.
And you're wrong.
Yeah,
in that your likelihood of being killed as a result of human conflict as a result of war is far less now than it has been ever at any point in human history, especially living in England.
Well, is that the statistics? Because
yes,
the statistics show, based on if there was this many people back then, that's what it's showing.
Yeah, but what you've got to look at is how many people per 100,000 population die as a result of conflict, yeah? And if you look at it from those terms, because because there's that many people compared to other times, other points in history, you're far less likely to die as a result of a conflict than if you were, at any other point in history. If you were in the Middle Ages, do you know what I mean?
No.
And if it went that, go on, sorry.
Now you can you count it now per 100,000, but back then you have to count it per 10,000 because there weren't many people back then, and then you compare, and that's how the statistics are shown.
But obviously, the ability to kill large numbers of people exists now, like it never has before. I mean, nuclear weapons can wipe out, well, I mean, pretty much everyone in the blink of an eye. We probably wouldn't even know it had happened until it was too late.
We've got another guest at the back. We'll keep you there for a second. Let Reese have his say, and then we'll let you on.
Yeah. I wasn't really. I didn't really have a say. I mean, obviously, the world's an oblate spheroid. Everybody with a half a brain can realize that. I mean, the idea that the Earth is a disk, when we look into the stars and we see that every other single astronomical body, be it a sun or a star or a moon, a satellite of a star, of a planet, they all are spherical. They're all spherical because that's the easiest shape in nature to make.
Most conservative as well. What was it?
Yeah, the conservation of angular momentum requires it to be spherical. Especially if it's spinning. The bits of it that, if it has got like a jagged edge, then the bit that's sticking out is going to be exerting, exposed to more force than the rest of it. Eventually, it's going to erode and wear away, isn't it? But the thing is, as well, if you look at the Earth, everybody thinks, we've got massive mountains and really, really deep ocean trenches. But if there was a giant that was big enough to hold the Earth in his hands, and it be the size of, say, a golf ball or a pool ball, yeah, to him, the surface of the Earth would feel perfectly smooth. You wouldn't notice any texture at all. And that, even if you put Everest and the Marianas Trench right next to each other. But he wouldn't feel like a real sphere. It'd feel more like a bit like a grapefruit, fatter in the middle than it is on the top.
I'm gonna let the guest at the back join now. Here we go.
That looks like a nipple.
That's my picture of Mars.
Yeah. It's a sphere.
Yeah, I've got of Mars.
It's a sphere. Funny that, isn't it? I mean, why would anybody think that Earth would be any different to every other astronomical body out there? I don't get it.
Hey. So I just heard the dude someone saying about like how you're less likely to die in a war now than ever before. But the thing is that like more people are dying now than ever before because there's way more people on the earth. So the biggest weapon of mass destruction is between our legs. That's the main thing.
I see you're a Danny Shine fan. It's okay. I believe that HIV should be for everyone. Sorry, that's a horrible thing to say, isn't it?
It's a bit cold.
No, I honestly, I concur. I believe that the planet would be a far better place without human beings on it. But I'm not sort of prepared to drink the Kool-Aid first.
I don't know. I mean, at least get vasectomies, you know. Even if you're not an anti-natalist, it's like the smarter thing to do, because you can always freeze your sperm or get it extracted later. And that way you're not like creating someone in the heat of the moment when your judgment is impaired by hormones. You know, when your judgment's impaired by hormones, you don't know what you're doing, and at least think it out first. Like, okay, I have this sperm here that we can have planted in you if we really feel like this is what we want to do. That way it's not going to happen through like some irrational like night of passion.
I believe you should have to have a license to have children.
Yeah, even to adopt children, for sure.
I think you should have to have a license to have children. I think you should have to undertake a psychiatric evaluation. I think you should have to have a means test, and you should it should be ensured that you have a certain level of intellect in order to be able to teach the child. You should be, you need to be able to support the child.
And why not? I mean, $1 million.
No. I wouldn't put a financial requirement on that. What I would say is that people need to understand that it's a big responsibility. And so, say for example, there's an organisation in the United Kingdom, Noodles, called the RSPCA, and they rescue and adopt out animals like cats and dogs. And in order to get one of their dogs or one of their cats, you have to demonstrate that the living environment that you're going to raise that animal in is appropriate for that animal. They're not. If it looks like you can't look after a dog, they don't give you the dog, because they don't want to perpetuate the cycle of people that shouldn't have dogs having dogs. But we don't do that with human beings.
Let's get back to the subject, I reckon.
Sorry.
You put the picture up, Local.
Yeah.
Is there actually anyone that genuinely believes that the world's flat?
Yeah, there is, man. Yeah.
Well, yes, because I've spoken to a few who have come back to reality and now know that it's a globe, but they were at one time flat earthers.
It's amazing how it can just like take a hold of people. I know someone who's super gung ho about it, and it's just like there's no point in actually arguing with them. But you know what I mean?
Yeah, they just they drag you down to their level and beat you with experience.
Yeah, I mean, there's no point in arguing with them. You just sort of, what I do is like, I just sort of like, oh yeah, that's interesting. Like I just sort of, kind of like it's kind of like talking to a little kid, like who's like playing like, is having some kind of like fantasy make-believe game,
You could just try and explain the physics to them.
I mean, I'm not good at, like, I don't understand the physics well enough. That's why I don't bother engaging. And even, no, I've seen people, like, actually, my buddy, like, taught me one of the good comebacks. Oftentimes flat earthers will say something about, like, oh, well, the curvature of the earth has never been proven. So you could just throw that right back at them and say, okay, well, if it's never been proven, then it's never been proven that the earth is flat either. If the curvature has never been proven,
Yeah, but the curvature of the earth has been proven. It was proven.
Well, even if it has, but right. I believe that it has, but it even if it hasn't, then that still makes their point
The ancient Greeks knew the world was round. They measured how big it would be, and I mean they were off by quite a bit actually. But they did. It was the knowledge was there. They understood that it was a sphere.
So is it true then though that like what they say about the curvature being like 6.66 or like 66.6 something? Like I know there's like they say it's like 666 is like in the measurement of the curvature of the Earth, and I mean if that is true, that is like an odd coincidence, isn't it?
Well, it depends what you define as odd or coincidence. I mean, the fact that we have this obsession with quite an arbitrary number, 666, for example, it's only what it's what the Bible said was the number of the beast, wasn't it? But
actually, they didn't say that. They said it was the number of a man. It was called the mark of the beast, but it's the number of a man.
Well, I don't know. To be honest with you,
there.
Yeah. I mean, other than, I mean, some of the stuff that JC said were pretty cool, but other than that, I don't have much truck with Bible. To be fair, it's certainly no good as an explanation of his origins.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean,
does it mention anywhere in the Bible about the Earth being flat, other than like I know all the thing I hear about them saying is like they talk about the firmament. Like I hear the flat earthers talk about the firmament or something. Like I don't know why it's interpreted as flat Earth, but
well, you've got to understand as well that to a lot of these early civilizations, it would have seemed that the world was flat. I mean, most of them, they struggled, you know, cartography, map making wasn't really invented until after writing. So
right.
they really, really struggled to understand even their local place in the world, let alone their place on the sphere of the world.
Right.
And, you know, because when you look up and you see from horizon to horizon and you put a spirit level on ground and it's flat, isn't it? Everyone knows it's flat. The Earth's flat, but obviously it's like anything else. If you get far enough back, you see the curve.
Yeah, I mean, I always felt like I could see the curve, like even when I was like really high up somewhere on a mountain or in a plane or whatever. You know?
Yeah. You can because you've got altitude, therefore you've got perspective. It's hard to have perspective when you're on a sphere. It's like, imagine standing on a balloon, yeah? If you were an ant on a balloon, you wouldn't realize that the balloon was a sphere. It would just be this big field in front of you, and you walk around it, and more field and more field and more field. And the horizon doesn't change, it just looks flat. And you get the same effect on Earth. I mean, obviously the horizon changes because we've got mountains and stuff, but
I don't know if they're the same group, but there's definitely some overlap with like the people that are like, there's a whole bunch of land that's being hidden from us. That's like on the other side of the ice wall in Antarctica, and you know, and like, yeah, there's just all this like extra land where like we're in the slave sector, and like we're not being it's kind of like a Truman Show sort of thing where we're like being kept from all this beautiful land that's, I don't know.
I mean, the only thing that I could think of with regards to that wouldn't be on, you know, certainly something on Earth that we're being kept from. Are you familiar with the zoo hypothesis?
No, well, maybe I could I could extrapolate, but
yeah, it's a potential solution to the Fermi paradox. It basically states that one of the reasons that we haven't encountered alien life is because we are essentially quarantined in a form of galactic zoo.
right, yeah, I actually watched a video about that, and then like if we get out, like they get a notification that we've moved sectors, and like they built like a second habitat for us to, I don't know. Basically,
I
there's
mean,
always someone keeping an eye on our movement, you know.
it like I say, it's just one of many hypotheses out there about, you know, potential answers to why we aren't encountering any signs of alien life.
Right. And who knows? I mean, well, you know, there's all this stuff going on now with Tic Tacs, and I mean, I have seen UFOs. I've seen like red orb UFOs, which you can go look up. I'm sure you'll find plenty of footage of that. And that doesn't mean that it's aliens. You know, of course, on the mainstream media, they're trying to tell us that the stuff the U.S. Navy's been witnessing is something that they would consider 1,000 years ahead of technology that we have now. And what I suspect is that it is just technology that humans have, and you know, they're just using the mainstream media or is working with whatever these sort of if there is like a deep state or something to try and rile people up and get them scared of some kind of fake alien invasion thing, or you know, they want us to believe it's aliens so that people don't think that we could have access easily to a lot of this technology.
Yeah, you know, the Americans are there's a lot of technology that they've got that they're not letting anybody know about.
I mean, I don't think it's like even necessarily just American. I think it's just humans in general. Like, my opinion is that every once in a while, there's probably these small pockets of humans that stumble upon something, or there's just a genius somewhere that figures something out, and you know, they're able to put a bunch of stuff together, either in secret, away from, you know, the hands of government, or it's within government, or it's you know, found by the government, and they try and, you know,
yeah,
use them.
They're called Blackstone and Lockheed Martin. The defense
yeah, you
contract
get like
companies,
things
they
start off in people's like basements and that, and then they want to try and keep it from the government because it's a big thing, and then eventually the government will get their fingers on it, won't they?
Right, and like I kind of have this fantasy about like these people that are able to sort of figure it out and keep it under wraps, and then they're able to like leave, you know, and they get off
you
the
watch
rock.
too many X-Files, man.
I don't know. Well, you know, like
child of the 90s, just like me. But as hot as Gillian Anderson was in that show, and she's still hot now, by the way, Gillian Anderson.
Yeah.
She'd but it was mainly fiction. There's probably some truth in it.
I mean, you know, what's interesting is, you know, there's all these accounts of abduction, right? But someone made a good point, which is that it was most likely humans abducting, like drugging and abducting other humans to do like research experiments and shit, you know.
I mean, it'd be a perfect cover story to the Americans have already been caught out doing medical testing on their own people and stuff. Have you ever heard of the Tuskegee experiment?
Tuskegee experiments, and yeah, I mean, there's all kind. Actually, that's the one that for some reason it became really popular. I think it became really popular because of like, you know, because it involved African Americans, and
well,
like
it was because it was proven. It was
No,
because it was proven.
no. But here's the thing: there's plenty of other experiments like that were proven and even just declassified. You know, like let alone proven. There's just plenty of stuff like that. There's tons of stuff where they were doing stuff with radiation and other chemicals, and you know, it just so. I mean, there's tons of that. There's like this whole thing where like during Bill Clinton's administration presidency, he does this like apology for the American government having tested on people without them knowing, without their consent. And it's just like, so it's just when there's it's plenty of that out in the mainstream. It's easily accessible. You can find out about all of it. So it just annoys me when people are like, oh, the government doesn't do that shit. There's no experiments going on. Of course they do. Like, what are you talking about? We're humans. Humans are like so sleazy.
We've talked about it quite a lot on this channel as well. About the government, how the government has psyops and all sorts of stuff going on, social conditioning and psychological nudges in advertising and stuff like that. They're the masters of propaganda, and there's no one better because they you know, despite all the evidence of the fact that they're all incompetent and, you know, self-interested and self-grandifying, we still vote them in time after time. Buy it, blind and single.
We seem to have lost Noodles. Yeah, man. So, Grey Man, aka Recording Reality, also known as Reese. You didn't convince me then the world was flat.
I'm not trying to convince you the world's flat. So did you get the wrong end of my stick?
Now, so I needed a few guys to come on and convince me that the world was flat so that I can become a flat earther. I really want to be a flat earther, but no one's convinced me yet.
Well, it's because it's really, really hard to convince someone who's capable of critical thinking of a fallacious argument.
I know.
Especially as nobody's actually trying. No one's come up on the side of the flat earth to...
Because nobody wants to humiliate themselves. It's like, okay, let's go onto a panel where we know there's people who can, you know, have a debate and hold a reasoned, educated conversation, and try and convince them of complete and utter bullshit. It don't work. You're just going to be embarrassed, aren't you? You should get don't Tolkien believe that the world's flat?
Looks like HE Media thinks the Earth is flat.
How can I be so arrogant? It's quite easy. I've got a hell of a lot of experience. It's because I'm normally right. And in this case, I know I am. Because at 17,000 miles per hour, at the altitude that they're at, there's no atmosphere, so therefore there's no air pressure, no friction. It's pretty much just like, and they've got zero gravity as well going for them, so things are fairly easy to move around.
Well, if everything is going exactly the same speed, then it's the same as if it's not moving.
Yeah, it's relative, isn't it?
Yeah.
All right, here's one for you. HE Media puts, what first-hand example do the live chat have a globe Earth? I'll give you my example. Is I've seen ships like disappear behind the horizon.
Yeah.
Anyone else got one?
I've got one. If I can share this screen. Basically, you can measure how fast the sun is going across the sky, and it's basically 15 degrees per hour. So if the Earth was flat and the Earth basically goes across, how do both these paths? Because they say it goes, around the Tropic of Cancer and then moves to the Tropic of Capricorn and back again throughout, the year to make the seasons. How do both these paths of the sun take 24 hours? Because the sun doesn't change speed. It goes 15 degrees per hour across the sky. It makes absolutely zero sense unless it's a globe and the sun is far away.
HE. Yeah. Oh, wait. Let's play the video first. Was that it?
Sorry, yeah, I just wanted to show that screenshot. It's somebody else's video. I don't want to get you strikes or anything. I just wanted to show that image of the two Earths, the two flat Earth things with the path of the sun for going around Tropic of Capricorn and Tropic of Cancer.
Right, yeah.
To emphasize the point that it makes no sense.
HE Media says, if we're all spinning through space, as they say, how come the stars always stay in the same position? The point is they don't.
They move slightly, but they stay pretty much relative to us because they're going along with us at the same speed.
They take millions of years to move.
Well, no.
In our lifetime, we probably, all the stars that we see, they haven't even moved a quarter of a millimeter to our eyes.
I tell you where you can see stars move.
That's not true. If you look at almanacs, they show that the stars do move by a bit. Wasn't that long ago that Polaris wasn't the North Star?
Well, that's got nothing to do with the star itself moving. That's got to do with the fact that the North Pole shifts. It doesn't stay in the same position all the time. It moves as a bit of a wobble.
You're thinking of the magnetic north.
No, that the magnetic pole flips, yeah, but the North Pole, as it appears in the sky, that moves as well.
Oh, it does a little bit, yeah. But it's to do with a lot of things. Basically, the stars are moving along in the universe pretty much alongside us moving.
Well, not all of them. I mean, some of them. Have you ever heard of? Do you know what redshift is?
I've heard of it, but not really.
So, the light as it reaches us from distant objects is subject to what's called the Doppler effect, and you can witness the Doppler effect when you hear an ambulance coming towards you, and when the siren's on, you hear the siren change pitch as it gets closer, and then it changes again as it moves further away in the other direction. And so basically, when something's moving towards you, the light is compressed and it appears on the blue end of the spectrum. But if something's moving away from you in space, it's stretched, so it appears on the red end of the spectrum. So hence call it redshift. Now we can look into the stars and we can see that there are some stars, the majority of stars are redshifted, which means that they're moving away from us which obviously indicates that the universe is expanding.
Yes, but generally speaking, they might be moving away from us slightly, but they're also moving kind of along with us.
Well, the stars in our galaxy are, yeah. But the vast majority of stars in space are all moving away from us. In fact, it'll get to the point where those stars have moved so far away that the distance between the stars, that we won't see them anymore. The stars in our galaxy, in our local galactic cluster, will literally be the only galactic horizon, the only universe horizon that we have. It's quite a sad thought, actually.
Now, HE Media, the only reason the stars are not moving is because they're so far away. It's like seeing something at a distance, a car coming at a distance. Like, you don't know if it's coming to you or not until it's really close to you.
There's places where you can look in the sky and you can see stars moving really, really fast. If you look at the center of our galaxy, Sagittarius A is a supermassive black hole in the center of our galaxy. And at the moment, it is in the process of swallowing it's either a star or a gas cloud. They're not entirely sure which. But it's tearing it apart, and there's a big sort of what is it? It's called it looks like a corona around the black hole, an accretion disk. That's the correct term for it. Around the center of the black hole, as it's falling in, the matter is becoming superheated, and so it starts glowing white hot. And obviously, when you see that, you can actually see the black hole that's in the center of the. You can't see it with regular photography. They have to use radio telescopes in order to see through the dust clouds that are obscuring the center of the galaxy. But yeah, it's crazy. You can look it up now. I mean, there's the James Webb Telescope has been taking pictures of it.
Oh yeah, I like the James Webb Telescope. $10 billion worth.
It's a sick bit of kit. Now. The next one they send up there will be even better though. Local.
It's over 1 million miles away right now. So if there's any damage, there's already one mirror damaged out of the 18 mirrors from a little bit of dust. Smashed the mirror.
The James Webb Telescope is going to pale in comparison to what comes next, mate. I guarantee it. The James Webb Telescope is limited by the fact that it had to fly into space on the rockets that are available, when it was designed and put together. And the next generation of rockets, they're going to be able to lift payloads so big. You could have the radius of the Starship's 9 meters. 9 meters. Sorry, diameter. 9 meters diameter. You have a 9-meter mirror in space. That's huge.
Well, the new one, it's not going to come out for another 10 years or something.
Oh yeah, I know. But I mean, they're talking about keeping Hubble going.
No, I think I don't know what's going to happen to that. Like the Voyager, that's still going. Voyager 1 and 2.
Oh yeah, they're just floating off into outer solar system, them though, aren't they? I mean, they've already gone through outer solar system. They're probably approaching the Kuiper belt.
Our tax money is funding that. Well, not the American tax money is funding that. Oh, tax money is the same thing. The tax money is funding that. It's another thing to talk about. Oh, we have to spoken about this age, the taxation. Yeah. So, hello, age.
Hello.
Yeah, have we
Well,
spoken about tax?
When?
No. In one of our subjects, no.
I don't know. Maybe we've talked about tax before.
But yeah, Reese, you're on. You might be on to something, man. But HE Media is not right about
there's a lot of chat in the chat about how wrong we are, but nobody with the balls to get up on the stream and actually debate it.
Celestial navigation that only works on the globe.
That's why in the southern hemisphere there's a different star map to in the northern hemisphere, because you see a different sky.
Have you ever held a sextant? Alternate world. Have you ever held a sextant?
I've never held a sextant, no, but I know what one is.
I just like it's alternate world is making claims about or celestial navigation. So I'm just wondering if they've ever actually held one. We'll find out an answer in a little bit.
Yeah, I just I don't know. I understand that people can be naturally skeptical, especially when an idea is big, yeah. But in order to create such sort of warped reasoning to justify them not being able to get the head around the fact that, you know, there is something that is pretty much a universally accepted fact and act like it's controversial. There is no controversy. The world's round. We've proved it. I mean, the fact that, you know, the GPS on your phone works is proof that the world is round, because GPS satellites orbit the Earth, and orbits are only capable. You can only do an orbit on a spherical object. It only works if it's a sphere.
Yeah, that's not true, alternate world. You need to look up how you actually use a sextant.
He hasn't used one in anger. Cappy wants to know if we're queued up for the Koof jab. I didn't.
A queue up for it? No.
I did not get pricked.
I didn't queue.
You didn't queue?
Yeah, I didn't queue.
Does Cappy queue up for David Icke book signings?
Probably does.
Probably does.
Watch out, them reptilians are going to eat your kids. Now, David Icke actually had some good ideas until he went off the deep end and started chatting bollocks. It would almost like somebody paid him to, like he were like a, you know, disinfo agent.
But it's like if you say, for instance, you believe COVID-19, the whole thing was bollocks, yeah. You believe the war in Ukraine's bollocks. You know a lot of things are bollocks, blah blah blah, yeah. But if you believe the Earth's round, then you're a shill. That's it. You work you're shilling for science or the government. You know, it's just another one of those inbuilt things into like the
It's cognitive dissonance.
Popular
isn't it?
culture, yeah, that separates us, I suppose.
I'm still waiting for my
argument
shill
going.
check though. Where's my shill money? I'm still waiting.
Yeah, so am I. Yeah, amount I talk about Elon Musk, he should at least, slipped a fiver in my bank account. Now, that is something I am absolutely. They're supposed to be going up this month, that Starship. First orbital test flight.
So is anybody going to come up? There's a lot of stuff in chat, but no one coming up to chat.
No one's got the balls because they don't believe in spheres.
Yeah, Age or any mods, can you please post a link in the chat? Otherwise, in the next 10, 15, maybe 20 minutes, I'm going to start wrapping up.
I'm going to have to drop off soon anyway because we'll keep morning. But I'm thinking of starting the Flat Testicle Society. I don't believe that testicles are really round. I think that it's an artificial construct designed by society to make us wear, to make us wear wide fronts instead of wearing boxer shorts. Because think about it, square balls would fit better in a pair of boxer shorts than they would wide fronts, wouldn't they? So it's a conspiracy theory, I think.
Age of mods, can you please post a link for the panel? If any flat earthers want to come on and try and convince me to become a flat earther tonight.
Korean meatballs. You can go to the south coast and film France, yes, because it's only 26 miles away. 26. It's not that far, really.
I thought it was 20.
Is it 20? It could be 20. It could be 20. Even if it is 26, it's still not fucking far away, is it? Dover to Calais.
That's what, about a third of a degree? Is it 1 degree every 69 nautical miles?
Yeah.
So 20 miles is a third of a degree.
And, why is it that when you go up a mountain, you can see a lot further? And I'm guessing that when you are, when you're trying to look for France from Dover, you're probably going to be standing on top of a pretty tall fucking cliff when you do. You get what I mean? And that added bit of perspective also helps to further how far you can see.
It needs to be about 500 foot, which is like probably stood on top of the White Cliffs of Dover.
Yeah. Perfect height, wouldn't you say?
You wouldn't be able to see it from sea level.
No, you won't. And if it wasn't for the fact that there's dirty, great big fucking white cliffs, you couldn't stand on the French beach and see England. But there are big fucking white cliffs there, so it's kind of easy to see.
Hang on, look, that's funny. The bottom chat, well, it's gone up now, from Cappy. Flat Earth.
Playlist of all the best flat Earth proofs.
Name one proof. One. Just one.
Jeff Boycott. You should stick to cricket. Astronomy is unbecoming of you, sir. Who's Jeff Boycott? HG Media says at sea level, but never mind. There's no change in your mind. No, I can't have my mind changed on something that is essentially a proven fact. I mean, there's a reason that we teach it in primary school. It's kind of unambiguous. Sort of essential knowledge, you know.
Let's just say, I think the flat earthers say that the moon is like 2,000 miles away. Yeah. So we can see the moon, that's 2,000 miles away, but why can't we see the Eiffel Tower? You know, it's not exactly mountainous in the north of France, is it? It's basically
you're right.
flat all the way to Paris. So you'd think we'd be able to see it.
Look at the size of the moon compared to the Eiffel Tower.
Why would something be called globe level? You know how many different levels? What if you're up a mountain, you're still on the globe? That makes no sense whatsoever. Why would it be called globe level? Is it called flat level?
Yeah, Epstein didn't kill himself, just said exactly what I've been maintaining all night. The Earth is an oblate spheroid. Did someone make you a Vegemite sandwich? Seagoland.
Yeah, do you know what the definition of level is?
I don't know. It can mean many different things, can't it? In a video game, it's a stage of
talking about
like a chapter, isn't it?
Talking about, say, water level.
Oh, you mean like sea level?
Yeah.
Well, that's the height of the sea. The average height of the sea, because obviously with tidal effects, the height of the sea changes, but that's the average height of the sea. So when you say you live 500 feet above sea level, that means that you live 500 feet above the level of the sea. If you were on the coast, you'd be on top of a 500-foot cliff.
I live about 200 foot above sea level, so
well, I'm talking about.
I reckon I can see about 10 miles out. But where I am on the south coast, I think France is about 60 or 70 miles away, so I'd never be able to see it.
Well, at the top of Castle Hill in Huddersfield, if you look hard enough, you can see the power stations at Drax, and they're about I want to say they're about 18 mile away. So, and obviously, the reason you can see them is because they're quite big.
Yeah, you probably can't see the bottom of them.
So this is Merriam-Webster's dictionary. Level, adjective, having no part higher than another, conforming to the curvature of the liquid parts of the Earth's surface. The level means curved.
Oh, I like that. On a sphere, I suppose, you can have a level on a sphere.
Yeah, level, curved surface.
Yeah. And, to be honest with you, though, gravity wouldn't make sense if the world was just a flat plane. How does gravity work if the world's just a flat disk floating through space? And is a disk spinning? And if so, why are we not subject to centrifugal forces that push us out off the edge? Why does the water stay on the top of the fucking disk? if the disc was spinning, the centrifugal force had caused that water to fly off.
And you got things like fluid dynamics. Like, say, the north of France would get destroyed every day by the sea, and the south of England would be like nice and subtle. But it's not like that. It can be rough one day and rough another. You know what I mean? Fluid dynamics. So that's another thing that a lot of people don't really talk about, is to do with flat Earth.
Yeah, there's you got some crazy people in your chat tonight, Local.
It's good. It's good to get.
Yeah, man, it's been good tonight.
None of them have got any cojones, though. I've got to say, I'm disappointed.
I think a lot of people think that just because they stop listening to the government and the BBC and then they start listening to alternative, that they're saved and that everything they believe in is right.
Yeah. And
if you believe that the Earth's a globe, then you're a shell. But nah, I don't think that's the case.
A certain level of skepticism is healthy, but there are some facts that are just fucking irrefutable. I mean, you know, I don't know. Maybe I don't take enough drugs.
So far, all we've had is photoshopped images. All right, here is an image for you. There it is. If you can share that image, please, Local. Local, you still there?
Hello. Yeah, I'm having some connection problems.
Okay.
Most of the evening it's been a bit buffery.
Okay, I've got an image up. If you can share it, it would be.
Maybe it's because of the weather. It's really rainy here right now.
Oh, it's snowing here.
Oh,
I'm going to struggle to get to work in the morning.
How far do you have to go? How many miles is work?
It's only about 1.5 miles. If
only
that.
1.5 miles. So
yeah.
How far is the local hospital?
Probably a little bit further.
How far is that? 4
Maybe
miles?
2 miles.
2 miles. Wow.
Yeah.
And what about your cinema? How far is that?
About 2 miles, maybe 2.5 miles.
And your local shopping centre, another 2 miles.
Which shopping centre? You mean like
shopping centre?
You mean retail shop?
Yeah, retail.
Oh yeah,
shops.
yeah. That's town centre, about 1 mile away.
Oh, it's just down the road.
Yeah.
Oh well, you're living in a 15-minute city then.
I live in Huddersfield, mate. It's just not a big. It's a big town, but it's just a town.
So
our town's kind of set up. You can get across town in about 20 minutes.
Hold on. Okay, before you get mixed up, but this is the thing now. If they class your town as a 15-minute city, and they closed off the road at minute mark, would you get angry about that, or would you won't mind because you got everything close to you? So when they call it a 15-minute,
they won't be able to do that in Huddersfield. And the reason that I say that is because although there's quite a dense urban population within like a mile radius of the town centre, the rest of the town is dotted about in and amongst the Pennine foothills, you know, in small little satellite micro villages. So you couldn't, because you couldn't replicate all the services that you need for all these outlying areas, you couldn't do it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I do understand that. I do understand. Yeah. I'm not saying no. I'm not saying no to that.
It's not like it's not all urban. It's a lot of it's a lot of it's rural and semi-rural. So have you ever seen Last of the Summer Wine?
Is that a film? No, I haven't.
It's a TV show that were on for years and years and years on BBC. But it were filmed in Home Firth. And if you're familiar with landscape around here, we've got really steep hills and quite deep valleys, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so a lot of our main roads, they run up and down these valleys, and a lot of the villages are dotted along these roads, and some of them are on top of hills, and so it'd be very, very difficult for them to enforce that sort of thing because it is spread out over quite a distance, you know what I mean? Because not all the land's suitable to build on, so a lot of it's still farmland or woodland or.
That's it, guys. Yes, we should end the stream like that. Yes.
So that is a beautiful picture.
That is a photo before Photoshop was invented, so you can't really say that was photoshopped.
That's the original.
Yeah, that's a 1972 blue marble photo.
And you know, this is another thing as well. Weather systems wouldn't work if the planet wasn't a sphere. They wouldn't. Well, you know, how would the trade wind blow around the world if the world wasn't round?
Can you imagine that little marble there with that round thing is surrounded by a vast amount of trillions of them? Quadrillions.
By what, sorry?
It's surrounded by other planets in the universe.
Yeah.
That marble.
All the other planets are more or less the same shape as that.
Yes, they would be different, HE Media, because they're taken from different cameras, different distances away. If they were all exactly the same, then that would be evidence that they've been faked.
It's a fake, guys. Don't believe it. Remember what I said earlier. Don't believe anything what we've said. Don't believe anything. Let's keep YouTube happy. Kipper, you're right. It's all fake. Don't believe a word.
Yeah. I mean, I can't think of anybody who would benefit from a conspiracy to make people think that the world was round. Who'd benefit from that?
I've tried my hardest.
The people that make marbles.
Or the people that sell globes, you know, the educational tool. Because, I mean, if the world was flat and they were proven wrong, I mean, it'd make I suppose they could just let the air out of them, couldn't they?
they would just sell flat ones. So
Yeah, they sell plates.
Yeah.
Oh, and do you know what? That's an awesome idea, because if we started selling flat Earth plates, not only would we be able to teach school kids that the world is really flat, but we'd also have something to eat our dinner off.
So it's a big conspiracy by the marble makers to sell more marbles.
Hmm.
They are running the world, the marble makers. It's all
Oh,
them.
they make some
You
good
heard it here
jokes, man.
first.
You know, actually, it's funny you should say that, but the reason that the birthplace of astronomy is Venice is because they were master glass blowers, and obviously most marbles are made of glass. Not of marble, they're made of glass. But they protected their art so fiercely that if you were a glass blower or a lens maker in Venice, you were forbidden under pain of death from ever leaving the city again. They would not let you leave because they didn't want anybody else getting that technology. Crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Can I just answer this question from exactly that, who was not wanting to come up and actually chat on the panel for reasons. Where are the stars? They're there, but do you know how exposure on photography works? If it was the right exposure to see the stars, you wouldn't really see the Earth that well. Just like if you go out during the daytime and the sun's out, the stars are there, but you can't see them.
You can occasionally see one or two stars when the sun's in the sky. Occasionally.
But trying to photograph them, and also the exposures are completely different.
There will be a star visible in the daylight soon. So I'm led to believe.
You can see the moon in this picture. Where? Exactly that. Where can you see the moon in this picture? I don't see a moon in this picture. Apparently, exactly that can see a moon in this picture. Strange.
If you look at it too long, you start seeing double.
So yeah, they reckon Beetlejuice is about to go supernova, don't they?
Don't say it 3 times.
What, Beetlejuice?
Don't say it again. No, it'll appear.
Oh, Beetlejuice.
Gesundheit.
Thank you. No, he's not here. Thank God. Who was it that played him? Michael Keaton?
Yeah.
I'd be fucking shocked if he just appeared in my bedroom now, to be completely honest with you. I'll probably punch him. I wonder if he thinks the world's flat. Anywho, I've got to go. It's my bedtime.
Good chatting again, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna end it.
Yeah, as always. Pleasant conversation. Fun time was had by all. Apart from the chat, they're all a bit salty. They're going to cry into their flat Earth martinis. Oh, right. Good night, everyone.
All right, man. Thanks.
Sleep tight and don't fall off the edge of the plate.
Yeah.
You may well.
Joe Black, thanks for joining the stream, mate.
No problem. It's just a shame no one from the other side wanted to come up and chat, would have been good.
Yeah, next week we'll be talking about 15-minute cities and trying to convince me otherwise. So that'll be a good one. And then a few days later, I'll be going to a protest about against the 15-minute cities, the ultra low emission.
ULEZ.
So ULEZ, yeah.
ULEZ. Yeah, that'll be a good chat next week. Yeah. But yeah, it's been a good chat, man.
Well,
I'm going to sign out and speak to you soon. Peace out, everyone.
Yeah,
Have a good
man.
evening.
Take it all easy. Thank you,
Yep,
H, for joining. And we'll see you all next week again at Thursday at
Be a big
9:30
one.
p.m. GMT. And everybody in the chat, stay safe. And I'll see you all soon.
See ya.
See you soon.